Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So now it's been a while, maybe a whole day, maybe 12 hours, 24 hours since I last played. And the game has been perfectly fine, paused, um, which is, I guess, just one more bit of evidence that underclocking my RAM was the thing I needed to do because it was just going all out, pushing itself too hard, I guess. We spent way too much time in the last episode doing the DLC um, challenge tomb in Kuala Lumpur, and it just, I guess, wasn't really doing a great job of pointing me in the right direction. And noticeably, in that challenge tomb that we did, there was also just a whole section that it seems like I totally missed. So there very possibly is some kind of mural or collectible, but it's not one that's being counted towards the completion ratio because it's the DLC stuff. Um, which inherently, if you are going to add more content with DLC, then there should be two percentages of completion. There should be a 1 to 100% for the main game content, and then a 1 to 100% for the DLC content. There is a lot of stuff still to collect and do in the Hidden City, but mostly I'm probably making the mistake of being obsessed about collecting Sadie's survival caches, which I think are mostly, if not 100%, buried in the ground, in favor of doing the actual missions. I really want to do the missions. It doesn't seem to me like I'm going to get 100% of all the collectibles. There's just some that aren't on the map and aren't getting mentioned on the map, which maybe that means I need to find some kind of archivist map that is in the central Hidden City area, and that will reveal something on a completely different location. This is a weird spot. I don't recognize this. I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to hit X to pick this up. So from the looks of it, this wraps around into this whole flooded section. Okay, I see what's going on here. This is the whole corpses and piranha section, which it's no surprise to me really that there would be collectibles here. It's interesting. The gate, it seems like I'd have to pull it open. I may very possibly just opt to fast travel out of this section after I collect what I'm looking for. We still are slowly looking for resources. So yeah, that's a survival cache in the ground, and that's something else that wasn't being mentioned.
This seems to be some kind of primitive sculpture of a human.
Yeah, we never got anywhere with this either. We found multiple primitive doll effigies, and we still have yet to get back to the idea of the non-human characters, monsters. interesting. There's a spot there that I guess the idea would have been underwater if this wasn't flooded. Get out of the water quickly. Hey, there's a little fish stuck on me. So there's a point here. Do we have everything else? We're low on bullets in a couple places. So yeah, there's a point here where it seems like this would have been tied to that if this area wasn't flooded. Of course, that really doesn't have anything to do with what we're going for here. Seems like it's lower. It's questionable whether I really need more gold at this point. There's a couple of outfits that potentially are going to be unlocked because of quests, and I could certainly buy the resources. Make sure that there isn't a platform higher up where that could be. I could buy the Jaguar, Empress Jaguar pelts, and speed up the process of collecting and crafting those outfits, but I do think I am very, very close to just 100% completion as far as all upgrades and all of that. Okay, so here's the danger. So, we have found a decent amount of stuff. But there could be something else. Like, there are these glowing plants, and this would really highlight how more helpful it would have been if there was different colors. Let's try something here. Shotgun shot. That does nothing. That does nothing. That does nothing. So then it really would just come down to maybe if I could burn bodies, then they'd go away. We do have secondary bullets, but let's see. Secondary bullet most would be an explosive bullet. So if anything was going to explode, it would do it. Secondary bullet, as far as a poison bullet, has quite a further area of poison. All this is really doing is just highlighting how useless all these bullets are. Grenade launcher doesn't do anything. Sure, it would be very potentially useful in other uses. So yeah, the only other secondary bullets would be like that, which does nothing. That, which is not going to do anything. And that, which is not going to do anything. Then it's definitely going to come down to just how many of those bullets can we even craft back. There's very possibly an achievement for doing a lot of shots with your secondary bullet fires, but I wouldn't be surprised if actually there wasn't an achievement there either. Yep. So as far as I can tell, there's nothing else here. Blinding bright light. And so then this is just going to come down to, does this path potentially lead to a way out? Or just a cinematic entrance? Yeah, there's no difference coming in from that side. This is where that platform would have been tied down, and we had to cut it to go any further. The question is, where did we come in from this point? There's got to be some kind of cave or narrow crawl space. And that's not particularly highlighted by default. I suppose it could be more of a case that there was a path and then it collapsed and was closed. I'm almost 100% certain though that we didn't just come into this area from nowhere. Facing this direction, if anything, it seems like we are possibly at a dead end. Yeah. Well, I wanted to give it a college try to see if there was a way back, an easy way back, but maybe we did just slide in through that section there. That's how your bow just disappears back on your back as soon as you jump. That's not something I really am going to complain too much about either, though, because in all fairness, if you made an animation where she swung the bow on her back, it would be nice, but it might also slow down what would be a reasonable time in which you could grab onto a ledge. But I guess honestly I would prefer that there is an actual animation there. And we do have an animation. Like, you go here and then it's back on your back when you jump. But if you just go here and press up a second time, she does have that animation. Alright. Next step is to find this tomb. It's possible that there are challenges. Definitely, there's still visual glitches. So, this is saying that the tomb is here. Did we find a tomb? Maybe that was just blinking because of the fact that I was in the tomb. we only have a little bit to collect. So generally we want to go over here so we can collect this. We're going to fight this, so let's just pull out this and be prepared to shoot something more dangerous than just these deer. Not getting the skinning prompt. I have to be on the other side, I guess. I feel like the skinning animation has drastically sped up over what it was in the first game. Definitely feels like in the first game you were swinging with the knife a couple of times to skin something, and wasn't just this knife stabbing sound effect. Now I had thought that there was definitely a potential here where to stealthily fight these animals you would have to do something along the lines of this and maybe cover yourself up in mud. It wouldn't be that confusing, frankly, if there was a straight up like scent masking element that you would do with the mud to hunt. And that they were moving towards the idea of potentially being in a deer blind and using actual hunting techniques. But no, it seems like it's pretty much just very overly simplified, and I don't see a possibility here where you could really stalk creatures or actually hunt characters. That you would have to go through maybe several steps even to reveal. I swim with a turtle only seen by those who let fear away is the monolith treasure hint. Okay. So I see a rock formation that could be a turtle. There was also a giant rock turtle formation in a completely different area from where we are. Mostly, though, seems like I may have to just stay kind of close to the ground and see if I can find a prompt. Perhaps the game should be a little bit more realistic and not let you just pop your head up for a second and then immediately go back down. Like, maybe you make the character have an actual oxygen meter, which noticeably is missing in this game, as well as health meters and other meters. Although I guess it doesn't really speed up the game any on second thought if I actually had like a oxygen meter, then I had to wait for it to refill. This would be a good place for collectibles, but there's already a treasure chest there. Nor am I saying anything really turtle related. The weirdness, of course, would be if it actually isn't in the water. But this is too far. Still within the circle, but interesting that we have an immortal animal here. I don't think they're supposed to be. Interesting. It is a gold statue. Why would there be a gold llama? Well, if there's a gold llama, maybe there is a golden turtle. Might as well grab less of the resources. I guess once I get about to 10,000, though, I think it's probably a good enough spot. Now, if I start going this way, though, I've gone way too far. So it's not this yellow spooky mask as a hint. So it does just kind of feel like I'm gonna have to there's not some way to crawl under there, is there? Yeah, I was just gonna have to search every single square foot till I found the right place. I really have to question why the game doesn't just have fast swimming on the whole time, or at the very least have left click turn into fast swimming instead of right trigger be fast swimming, and also have to pay to unlock that skill to have fast swimming. Okay, so we're 100% on collectibles. We can now just make a mad dash to the village, taking our pick of whichever mission giver we want, assuming I can find the way to the village. A lot of these caves now are devoid of anything, so they feel like empty dead ends. I'd almost expect the golden llama to be part of the quest. Definitely feels like the game would potentially encourage Um, come on. It's probably going to be easier just to fast travel though. I'm killing the animals there, not because I really need their resources, but just because I'm trying to see if there's maybe an achievement for hunting animals. Let's go ahead and just fast travel. Now, storyline, there's an earthquake and Jonah, who was supposed to be our, like, Girl Friday equivalent or friend companion character, to use a more recent reference, asked us to go talk to him, and we just ignored that in favor of going to the merchant. So let's do that again first, but then let's also actually talk to him. He's sitting here to give us a mission. There is another mission deeper down this path, but I assume they really would prefer you do the Jonah quest first. Alright. So, we sell all the gold ore.
I'm sure you will be satisfied.
And we sell all the jade ore.
That's a good deal for both of us.
And that gets us to 10,000. And then we are kind of high on salvage and high on black powder. We could spend a lot on handgun bullets. We could spend not that much on machine gun rounds. We could spend a lot on those bullets. But I think that mostly I don't need to buy anything from this merchant. So unless they give us a different merchant, I'll have to just find the one that sold the pelts, which I think was in the hidden city, to upgrade things. We've been teasing the end of the world, but obviously
Trinity's still here.
Nothing moves forward
I thought they all returned
until
by
you
TT for the ritual.
I guess during the mudslide, a few
commit
of them
to
got
the
separated and were left behind.
final act.
They found an old ruin underground and set up a base camp.
It's a crypt. The locals told me it was built for the priest of Sipakna.
The god of mountains.
And volcanoes.
Yeah, when you see Jonah next to
The crypt is annexed
Abby,
to the temple of Sipakna. Many
the two
people here still
characters are
visit that temple regularly.
honestly far
Or
too
they
similar.
did, until Trinity moved in next door.
One arm
And
sleeve
that's
of
why the
tattoos,
tremors and the ash haven't stopped.
kind of that
This
adventure
apartment doesn't
badass
appreciate being neglected.
stance and appearance.
So, Lara, I
Black
was
hair.
hoping...
Do you think you could check it out?
If anything, I would say Jonah
it's a lot to
is a
ask.
more interesting character, or diverse character, by
I'm on it.
being Hawaiian
Thanks.
and
It's really
us
appreciated.
never really going to Hawaii in this area. Seems like Jonah and Abby are getting together nicely, which is not really what I thought they were hinting at. And of course, Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics is not going to push it and make it like a throuple where Jonah and Abby and Lara Croft are romantically involved. So you're having this weird scenario where the game has given some potential romance overtones to the lady that was hurt her leg and was stuck
Isabella,
in the
are you
ground.
feeling better?
You didn't tell me you're Lara Croft.
I've
It's nice to meet you, and thanks again for helping me. We'll figure out this place and what the stone faces mean. And Manu was right about the
Yeah,
crypt.
we skipped over
What
the
else is
stone
out there?
faces element too.
I can't wait to find out.
Dropped plot lines all over the place. Let's see if this guy says something different.
Lara, thank you so much for finding Isabella.
It was my
No lip
pleasure.
flap on this
She was right.
dialogue.
There was a hidden crypt there.
It is
I know,
far
she
too
was
wide
right.
of a
So
range
was Manu. When
as
she's
far as
feeling
just
better, we will go
good
excavate the
quality
ruin
cutscenes
together.
versus bad quality cutscenes, and good quality writing and bad quality writing. Definitely feels like there very possibly was a completely different team making the DLC content and doing just a much better job with it.
All full up. Can't carry any more.
There's just a character standing here. Hey, we've got another shotgun thing now that we've figured out that those were shotgun areas. Although all that leads to is a gold vein. So I assume this is just going to be an encounter. Not even that big character can be axed to death. I guess the story never really played into the idea that Jonah would have real romantic feelings for Lara Croft, which could have been a way to go with the story, certainly. So we're just straight up searching a door, and that's just going to enter a tomb that we couldn't enter before. But I'd like her to have somebody somewhere, some connection outside of the girl that also kind of had these potential lesbian overtones in the first reboot game of this rebooted series. Even if it was a slightly inappropriate, I mean, you could potentially have some depth in that she had some crush on a college professor, and the college professor actually reciprocated and didn't rebuke her for being in a unequal position of power or being too young. Interesting, this seemingly powered gates. That's a different experiment. But yeah, anything at all
I'm not familiar with this
outside
symbol.
of just being upset that her father and mother is dead, it makes her come off, honestly, way too much like a little kid who's just upset that her parents died than a more mentally matured adult. Alright, well, it doesn't look like there's a trapwire here, so... Interesting, there's a trap there, but it's not triggered by a tripwire, whereas every other trap has been triggered by a tripwire. And then we're seeing just remnants of Trinity having a full research base or setup, or some kind of base setup. At some level,
Locked, but there's gonna be a way to open them.
interesting. It just said that too. I didn't even hit the hint senses mode. Almost feels like there should be monsters, creatures, even zombies, although it's way too late in the game to introduce zombies. But there could be wolves, panthers behind those gates and then opening them. It feels to me like this might be a maze.
There's that symbol again.
Looks like a crab, and it looks like one is more detailed than the other as far as the leg goes. Here's some bullets to grab. You just can't open up things from the other side. Maybe this whole area floods at some point. Becomes underwater, since underwater is about the only gimmick this game has. These wires look like tripwires, so it would have been beneficial if you were trying to trick the player to look for tripwires and then mistake these wires for tripwires. It would have been beneficial if they were in a lot of other places. Unfortunately, all of these DLC tombs seem like experiments done after the fact. Something that potentially might have content or ways of thinking in a new Tomb Raider game, which I suspect, if or when we ever get a new Tomb Raider game, it is going to just be fairly drastically different. I am not expecting it to be much like this at all. I think they bit off way more than they could chew as far as trying to go with fancy hyper-realistic graphics and ray tracing, and there's nothing inherently in Tomb Raider games.
Trinity's done a lot with this space in a short time.
That says a Tomb Raider game has to be hyper-realistic on the graphics. Yeah,
This
another
symbol
symbol.
is definitely important.
I have no idea what I'm supposed to do now. Seems like we've just hit a dead end. And it's putting this tomb underground in an area that we dealt with above ground. We haven't been trained to shotgun blast these or anything like that, so yep. Not really expecting anything there. The game wants me to go in that direction, which I guess means I'm going this way. Still using the census mode like crazy. Way too much. And still getting a few more levels.
Day 1,
we need
location
quite a few
1,
more
no
still.
signal. Day 1, location 2, contact. Too much static for clear communication. Day 1, location 3, contact. Told to wait for extraction several days on account of all resources being required at Khan. Day 2, locations 1 and 2, no signal. Day 2, location 3, intermittent contact, same message as previous. All subsequent days, all locations, 0 contact. Suspect strong interference from volcanic activity.
We've yet to see any volcanic activity in the story, so kind of obviously we should be doing this
They'd have a
section
generator here somewhere.
later. Whatever. So we're starting a generator.
Oh, good. Now let's see if I missed anything in the dark.
Blinding bright light. So I guess we'll just go in circles and look again at each of the symbols. Well, we can't actually look at the symbols. Noticeably though, there is what looks like a crawl section that didn't exist before. This is where we entered the whole area, I guess. Walk right past those traps without... Certainly you could have had more of this if you wanted to highlight ray tracing and all that visual element. It is way brighter now and easier to see things. I would assume that you couldn't have just crawled here in the dark. There really isn't a lot that looks like would stop you. This door being opened does potentially imply we might need to go back and turn the lights off. You could definitely see how this could have been a Sewers of Paris type mission instead of just being in a tomb in South America. Half of these tombs would still work if they were in other locations. I guess if you think about it, like ancient civilizations probably set yourself up in such a way, that is an awkward jump, that you would want you'd want tombs in like ancient Greece, ancient Rome, lands that were once ancient Greece, ancient Rome, South America certainly, China certainly, Asia's in general. Like I may be going in circles here. Yeah, that was, we just opened the door. This is the left and right spot. We're curving around quite a bit, which is not helpful when there is no map to tell you where you're going. But then there are also places where I doubt there's a lot of tombs or just underground dwellings in, say, Venice, which it would be flooded, although there could still be tombs there, and there definitely would be buildings that were flooded, so you could still have levels there. Maybe not any in Cuba or parts of Africa where that's just not likely to have been part of their culture, but there probably are tombs in Egypt. What you could do certainly is create a world where where entombing and tombs exist anywhere and everywhere in your reality, and have a world that is only slightly off.
I bet I know what happens if I pick the wrong door. Nothing good.
Whoops. So I was supposed to be looking for the correct symbol, I guess, and I don't feel like any of them are right. See if we can maybe go back and look at a symbol better in the light. But yeah, if you had, for the most part, there's shotgun blasts on this now, a world where tombs existed everywhere, even in like North America, that the idea of perhaps more secret societies existed and that they built tombs, so you would have something like the Masons or something like that in the North American history for 200 years building tombs and running around on that. And even in Africa, you just have like cults or organizations in Africa running around building tombs. Then you open up the game to go to a lot more locations, and I definitely feel like that should be the case. Like going to Cozumel and then Peru is not enough variety in this game. There should have been a middle act where we flew back to England at the very least and had to do some research, or maybe there should have been just something more to it. Okay, so as far as matching the symbols here, I see curled inward, and then I see a second arm, a third arm, a fourth arm, and a fifth arm, and then crab legs. Now, am I actually going to get like an instant death if I pick the wrong one, or is it just going to stab me? Right. So this one has little hooks on the top there. I don't think that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'm not really that, but that might be right. This one has hooks on the top, so that's wrong. And this one has hooks on the top. So my guess is this is the correct one. What else is there to possibly do? Seems to me like you're pushing it forward, and if you pick the wrong one, it's just gonna stab you.
I knew that symbol was important.
So if we go back, then these aren't treasure chests, these are just switches pushing forward. So they would just kill you. Definitely feels like you would fight Trinity here at this point, and there would be an encounter. Maybe that's what we're getting to, is a stealth section.
After everything we went through to get this thing, you want someone to just steal it from us?
Defeat the guards.
That's not what I said. I'm questioning why we took it in the first place.
The plan is solid. It's gonna take some time to play out.
It's just all this damn waiting.
This incidental dialogue could be a lot more interesting. Alright. So, here's what I want to do. I'm going to target this guy, and then I'm going to do an alternate shot. Though that's not the alternate shot I thought we were going to do. Come on. This is my last chance to surrender. Now we're supposed to claim the crab. We have a weird beeping sound. Right. Well, let's wander around here and see how else we potentially would have done this. You just have this central area, and from the looks of it, There's not really bottles or anything to throw. You could possibly have distracted them or waited for them to potentially wander away, but for the most part, it definitely feels like there wasn't much more I could do. It was pretty much just a take them out situation. What's interesting about this crab is that it doesn't look like it's a artifact as much as it looks like it's some kind of electronic device.
Abby, it's Lara. I'm at the Trinity camp. Some of them were guarding a crab figurine.
Oh no. That must be the central offering from the temple. No wonder the earth is still shaking. That crab was stolen directly from Zipacna himself.
Abby.
You have to put that crab back in the temple, where it belongs.
Okay, I will.
The problem here, on top of the beeping, which
The crab
seems to
is
not be
traditionally
connected,
Zipacna's favorite food.
it was, I guess,
In order
just
to set a
flickering.
trap, the hero twins created a decoy crab and used it as bait for him. It worked. Based on the design of this crab, it was probably created as an elaborate offering. It must occupy a place of central importance in the Temple of Zipacna.
Now what's funny is this is not really the pattern we were seeing before, unless we were seeing the pattern like that, which then maybe we were seeing the pattern. It's not distinctive enough, certainly. I wish I could figure out what the beeping is. I feel like I potentially shot a proximity exploding arrow into the guy that doesn't trigger when I hit it, and that's what the beep is. But I didn't even know I had such a thing, if that's the case. So we're exiting the tomb now, potentially to go to a different tomb? It seems to be the case. Audio clipping out as it's loading in and back into the overworld, I imagine.
I think I can see the temple site. There's a village in front of it.
That's the one.
Alright, so where are we on the map? We are in a completely different area, although it seems like we may have been in this area before. And this seems like this is an attempt at having a run on the rooftop type experience, maybe, without being flooding and earthquakes happening, although who knows, maybe that will pop up too as a thing. Like, I have definitely been complaining on the idea that there has been no running on the rooftops, and noticeably we haven't been on the rooftops of these metal, like, cheaper buildings. Weirdly, this does seem like there's multiple paths, and you're getting just instant death. And I guess maybe the idea is that there's poison gas.
I think I can see the temple site. There's a village in front of it.
That's the one.
So maybe that's why it has you jump.
The village is abandoned.
Because of the mudslide.
So you got some music playing in the background, but no people. Looks like if we swing that direction, that takes us another place. But it looks to me like this is just the right direction. We know this is kind of DLC area, so
I can't get through that.
interesting. And you can't just shoot it. Just double check that.
There must be a way to open the door.
This almost feels like this should be some kind of co-op experience. I don't know, maybe the whole game is playable in co-op. Or maybe it's just teasing you by making it seem like there's ways to reach places when there really isn't. It doesn't seem like there's any items to pick up.
I hope the villagers
Anywhere.
will be able to return here soon.
So, yeah, this is definitely an experience I would have wanted to do at some point, is to have areas more emptied and just more variety in areas overall. I'd prefer more variety in areas overall than them being
Must be a
emptied.
way to get across.
Well, I definitely see a potential benefit around.
I don't have enough time to make it across.
Interesting. You have a rope thing up here. But it is in this box. It's nailed to the side of this pole, which doesn't make any sense. It's like these are unsolvable puzzles. Intentionally unsolvable puzzles. So you just keep going around. Which maybe that is an idea that's too out
I
there
have to go through the church.
Careful.
as
the buildings
a
are unstable.
concept. It does seem like that's a pretty wild idea to have multiple wrong paths in a game that otherwise has held your hand and shown you the absolute right path every single time, or given you no other options, so you have to figure out the right path yourself.
From the age of the paper, this must have been left here decades ago. O great Zapakna, creator of the mountains, destroyer of the foolhardy, and guardian of the flames beneath the earth, grant that my son and my daughter should walk on your mantle in safety and prosperity. May your might and your wisdom be with them always.
You would think with all the Catholicism, prayers to the gods would have been severely frowned upon. Yeah, again, it feels like there might have been a way to have slid to this point. But if anything, it feels like what you're gonna find is that this tomb section, and let's just face it, this is a tomb, it's just with different textures, and we really should have seen a lot more of this over the entire trilogy. Areas that were platforming sections and tomb sections.
I can't believe it. Trinity destroyed the bridge.
You'll find your way through.
But yeah, it would have been nice to have more tomb sections like this. And that definitely feels like there are multiple paths here. This feels like what's happening, though. Is that they're just setting up for the score attack and the time attack. Seems like if I moved faster I could have made that direction, but since I didn't, we'll swing in this direction and take the slower spot. Honestly though, I really don't like that concept of potentially there being two paths, one being significantly faster than the other if you're really good at your running and jumping elements. And maybe that's not even the case. Maybe I had to kick that down just to make a shortcut to get back. Can I swing on a rope if I ran and jumped on that rope? I guess I can't. The reason I don't like that concept is because the rest of the game just does not set up a good foundation for that. If throughout the rest of the game we'd been running and jumping, and if running was just pushing forward as far as you can on the analog stick instead of having to click the right stick to get into run mode, then you would convince me that this was an acrobatic game. But notice how it took me 2 jumps just to get on top of this head, and if I wanted to go further this way, I can't really do it. I can't slide on things. I can't fail or fall to my death. So yeah, sure, speedrunners potentially can do amazing actions where they're running and jumping, but the rest of the players just don't have that foundation of movement technology and skill. The fact that you're not running by just pushing forward at full speed
I'm inside the temple.
highlights that they want a slower paced game. That's to say absolutely nothing about the fact, interesting, you have little banisters, guardrails, whatever they're called. That's to say nothing about all the collectibles.
His favorite food.
I guess that's the Pacna. If this was supposed to be a run and jump game, you can't have all these speed bumps of murals and collectibles.
Zapakna, brother of Kabra Khan, god of earthquakes. Zapakna is often depicted as a giant caiman and is known for his destructiveness, arrogance, and volatility.
That's another story completed, another bit of XP. Does still seem like we get about 1 skill point for every 100 XP, but I don't think we're quite far enough that I actually think I can unlock every skill in the game. I guess it's going to come down to whatever the final act.
Lara?
I'm okay, and I see Zapakna.
So I guess the idea here is you're not supposed to just throw the crab into the mouth of the alligator. We triggered something. And Zapakna here is clearly just a statue, no magic seemingly to it at all. Guess I'm supposed to be propelling downward here.
Getting closer.
And then I'm just supposed to drop. Notice how you're getting like tutorials here because it's been quite a while since you've actually supposed to drop downward. Like, that's just a movement tech that's not used. Sit. Yeah. Multiple paths
That's deadly. I'll have to
does
find a
not
way to stop it.
really synergize with the idea of the game giving you a tutorial prompt while you're 50, 60 hours into the game. I'm going to assume that resets after some time. Sprinting.
Damn.
That's
Too
pretty
close.
much the only time I've ever had to sprint. And this time she says, damn, too close. Which is, I guess, at least a unique line of dialogue instead of just saying, oh,
beautiful.
S word.
There must be more of these triggers. If I find all of them, they'll push the partner back to the top.
And there's a standard end of the tomb statue inside his mouth. Okay. So what's the trick here? I have now tied it. I seriously doubt I could run and jump, and I can't pull that from this far distance. So, maybe the move is to gain some height. Yeah, for a free-flowing game, an Assassin's Creed-like game, you would assume you were going to run it to the side here, climb up to the top of that, and then jump to the top of this ramp. If that's really the solution, it seems like the solution may be to just jump. Being said, it doesn't seem like you get quite enough height for that, if that's the move. And I don't think I can even really cut the rope. Yeah. Like there's not really a prompt here to cut the rope. So let's kill ourselves and just see what a swing would be. Wow. So just an incredibly unrealistic, awkward swing, which that is also something that needs to be addressed, certainly, is that there is way too much of that in this game, and that jump was just another incredibly awkward, just mismeasured bit of
That's deadly. I'll have to
Of a
find a way to
jump.
stop it.
so seems like, again, there may just be two paths. One would be climbing way too slow maybe to get to this crab. Although that does seem like that gives you a lot of time. Or the other seems like you could just reach this part. Just awkwardly
That's
fall
deadly.
backwards.
I'll have to find a way to stop it.
So this is not enough time. So it's gotta be this. It seemingly gave me extra time there. Seriously doubt I can jump and swing on that. It does really just seem like this is a case where there's our final goal. Where there are wrong ways and there are right ways, and you're just doing a real experiment here. It's no wonder that this would be some of the last extra DLC levels too, because this is really breaking the established way all the other levels were designed. I feel like I'm repeating myself at this point.
Have to find a way across.
So the rope breaks as soon as we get it perfectly aligned.
Have to find a way across.
Looks to me like this is just a run, jump, swing, grab, and jump across.
Have to find a way across.
Music is getting a little annoying at this point, I would say. The big dramatic increase coming in and out. Potentially every time I do something right, maybe that's the sound effect they chose to indicate I'm doing something right, but nope. It is just a too high for its own good crescendo note, if I'm using the right music term. Now what in the world was that all about? It does just feel like there's random stuff all over the place. Unless there's a whole bunch of Easter eggs and secrets in this challenge too. But honestly, I kind of just don't care. Like, even the collectibles and the murals are all extra.
That's deadly. I'll have to find a way to stop it.
I want to, for the most part, finish the last couple of side missions and just start the final act of this game. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing here, but I'm gonna assume it's climb up and hope it's not climb up in such a fast speed that I'm gonna get burnt if I take too long. Yeah, again, there was a whole switch there that you just can't pull. I guess maybe they're trying to imply that this entire tomb would have been something completely different if it wasn't so damaged. But maybe just show that to me. That's something where a time travel mechanic could potentially have worked very well in this game, is if fairly early in the game you grab the knife, for instance, or when you'd grab the knife at the very beginning of the game, if that had sent you back in time and you had had to run through all of these tombs, including the DLC tombs, but they were in perfect pristine condition, they were just been built and everything was easy. If you fell somewhere, you just landed on a platform, you didn't instant die, there was no big difficult jumps, and so you would save, finish all the tombs the first time in the past very easily. Then you would have like a middle act to make you forget about how you finished the tombs. Then you would come back in the present time and have to do the tombs as they are now. By potentially doing that, then you don't have the weird DLC element that is here now, where you're being encouraged to solve the tombs just as a score attack, and you're pushing regular players who would have just played the main experience. I hope I wasn't supposed to go that way. I think I'm supposed to go this way. I'm not sure. Nope. I am supposed to do this.
Have to find a way across.
I would almost certainly prefer this game to make me do the tombs twice, which is the good content, in favor of getting rid of half of the collectible nonsense stuff that exists otherwise. Interesting. So I'm just gonna jump and swing and hope this works. Nope. That's not quite where I was expecting the checkpointing to happen, but yeah, good enough. By having the creators of the game and the level designers make two versions of a tomb, there's a slight hope there that you would, I guess now part where you swing and jump, that there would just be more polish also around the design and all.
That's deadly.
And
I'll
everything.
Have to find a way to stop it.
And that they could iterate more. Whereas, in contrast, interesting, it didn't turn down the fire, it raised it.
Move up.
Which I guess means I'm jumping this way. That's not 100% obvious. It's frankly a little too easy
Got to move up.
to have randomly generated hunting areas or randomly placed collectible sections. Alright. So, two choices here. Either we're supposed to get on top of this, which I think is what we're doing.
Got to move up.
So just a awkward long jump. Hopefully we got a checkpoint at some point there. Nope. I guess the problem overall with games with way too many collectibles in them is that there's just never going to be a way of making game developers stop flooding their games with collectibles. It is unfortunately an actual number metric that a publisher can easily demand of a developer to ensure that the developer deserves to be paid. Saying that there would be 100 collectibles in a game is very easy to prove legally and contractually, whereas what gamers really want is good games, which is a far more subjective description.
Got to move up.
You'd think there would be something more here. Or that something would be lit up as being white. I think the move is possibly just to jump here and take the fall damage. I doubt it's to jump on top of this though.
Got to move up. Got to move up.
Got to move up, it says. This is another great example of your hint not being useful. And that's a problem certainly with any hint, is that if I'm just not getting it, I just am not going to get it.
Got to move up.
So let's try to square it off as much as possible and jump.
Have to find a way across.
It's all very basic hints too. Almost certainly the same hints were used in multiple tombs. I particularly enjoy rotating the left stick the third or fourth time in this case. It's just making my thumb sore. And then she's cussing again with the exact same cuss. Or oh.
Got to move up.
So apparently it's jump and X to that. Although that didn't work. But there is a climbing section there, so that does at least indicate to me that I've been going down the wrong path. Of course, I could be going down the wrong path now, and I could have been on the right path, but if I was on the right path, I almost certainly would have solved it by now. Like, when I hold X here, I would prefer, with the accessibility option, enabled to not have to spin the left stick. The action of spinning an analog stick is not really a natural action. Like, people just in their day-to-day lives are not designed to spin their thumbs in circles like that.
Got to move up.
Which, if anything, I think that may just highlight kind of part of the problem with some of the video game input prompts in the first place, is that they have gotten wildly out of the range.
Got to move up.
Yeah, you would think it would be a jump straight this way, but there is no jump straight this way. You'd think then it would be a long jump and grapple. As far as I can tell, doesn't seem like there's anywhere else you can go.
Got to move up.
See, if I fall down here, then jump here, then we're back to this, back to this, back to this. Would I have any way of possibly
Got to move up.
turning off the gas with like a arrow or a shot or something? I once again may just need to look at a walkthrough. Like, I think I know what I'm supposed to do, but the practical implementation of it seems
Have
to
to
be
find a way across.
broken. Do have a thought there, I guess. Let's see if we can swing and jump and make it. No, you've got to tie it, and you're pretty much doomed. I guess maybe you could have turned around and swung back. You can make it this way. You've got to tie that to the other section. Well, what I'm thinking is maybe if you could twist it back so that it was facing where it was originally facing. Notice how that swing also just pulls you way further up than you really should. If I could
To move up.
somehow break this rope. And what's that rope all about? That's probably nothing. But it is visually in the wrong place. If I could break this and pull it this way, I could jump on it and go that direction. Versus this. It's so far away.
Got to move up.
Like, I can't shoot this, I can't shoot this, I can shoot this. I can't really even see the rope, so if this was something as crazy as shooting the rope with a bow and arrow, I just don't think that's gonna happen.
Got to move up.
Got to move up. This moves you up, but it's far too far to long jump this way, and it feels like it's too far to long jump this way. Even if we did long jump and climb up until this point, what's the next step there? Alright, so what's the name of this quest that we're on? Wrathful God walkthrough. Let me just bring it up because I'm tired of dying at this point. Only the DLC things have gotten difficult enough that I've needed to look up the solution. The sad statement though is that as I get older and less patient, I am getting way more reliant on walkthroughs. I'm just getting worse and worse, it feels like, as an actual gamer, while also knowing that modern games are actually getting easier and easier for the most part on average. I don't think this is easy. Okay. So I've got the walkthrough up here. Sadly, this walkthrough is not giving me a full
Got to move up.
image, but it does say I am going to grapple the craggy wall, and I don't see any other craggy wall. I think part of the problem might be that I have the DLC climbing hooks on, and there is at least visual glitches we've seen with the climbing hooks when the DLC climbing hooks are on, but I can't disable that anyways. I would have to go to a fire pit, which the only way I could really do that would be to load up a save from like an hour and 15 minutes ago. Hour and 30 minutes ago. Like, everything else here is rather easy. The jumps are not in any way being difficult.
Got to move up.
Am I not hitting the X early enough, or am I hitting it too late? I wish there was a way to trigger a save Save ourselves some time here. There might be a way to trigger a save. Let's experiment with that once we get to that spot. Nothing really hurts the game if I do make a new save. This would be about the third or fourth time we've had a craggy wall grapple not really work until the fifth or sixth time. Alright, so we'll just save the game into an empty save spot, and while we're at it, let's just see where we're at as far as percentage completion. Still at 86%.
To move up.
Okay. You know what? It's pointing me forward. Let's jump and grapple.
Got to move up.
It almost seems like there should be. Could I do anything now that I've reached this point? Spin things around, not really.
Got to move up.
Just looking around. See, this should be glowing, really, in census mode, and it isn't. It'd make a lot more sense if it was here. Okay.
Got to move up.
This would be a great place if there were two paths, since the one path they are showing me is not working. Yep. So this was 100% a case where you probably had to be on the... Oh, shoot. Probably have to jump from the golden pad to hook it. Otherwise it just doesn't trigger. Now I could maybe save myself some time and load the save file. But I'm hoping that this will be the last time we do this. Of course, this really just drains all the cinematic nature out of an experience like this in a way that you would never see in a movie or TV show. You're not just going to see the bloopers breaking up the actual flow of the storytelling or the failed cuts breaking up the flow of all the good cuts. It is definitely not on the player to have to jump from the gold, though. Let's see if we reload checkpoint. Let's see where that loads us. So if you wanted to load the game, you would have to exit to the main menu, which maybe this will fix some of the physics anyways. Then you would have to load, not the auto save. But all the way down here, I guess, to this. Yep. Just trying to figure out their system. Let's see if that works. And honestly, even if it does work, loading in and loading out this way is not helpful. Nope, it definitely feels like the game is determined to screw you over on that, unless I loaded the wrong save.
Have to find a way across.
That's definitely a slower way to do things. And this is a problem that can happen at any point in the game, in any game, where you hit either glitchiness or difficulty spikes. And that can create the player situations of dissatisfaction in the minds of the player, all the way down to full-on rage-inducing rage quits. I don't know if I'm supposed to actually even swing once we're on the craggy rocks, or if I'm supposed to jump. So I need to take a moment and read the next sentence in the walkthrough. And I have a bit of arthritis in my thumb, so spinning this many times is not pleasant. It's actually physically getting painful. The game knows where checkpoints would be, so a game like this could benefit from telling you that you can skip to the next checkpoint instead of just having the player try over and over again. Apparently, I'm going the wrong direction anyways. There's seemingly a ledge above the winch.
Got to move up.
I guess here? That we're swinging to? It's quite a lot. Jump, wait a while, press X on this, works fine. Yeah, there is a ledge up here. It really feels like that ledge should be highlighted with maybe more gold. So, yes, in the one time so far I've gotten to the craggy rock part, I should have continued to swing to reach a different ledge, and then from that ledge I should have jumped on top of this. which it definitely is more right angle-y. And the game has been fairly good about always having you move in mostly right angles, although they are failing it to do that in this case. Her cussing also is creating that situation where you're putting that thought in the mind of the player that this whole situation may be poop, and yeah, for as many times as I've tried this now, this situation does feel poopy. Nope. I have yet to see the grapple hook visually glitch out, though. Please give me a checkpoint at this level. And please let me make this jump. Alright, so that feels like that's a checkpoint. Okay. Now it's gonna flicker out. And we're just gonna run through it when it does. Please, please, please. I saw it save. So it did checkpoint us. And also has reset this back to where it was. So go, go, go. So it seems to me like you've got to probably run before it's fully dissipated. And this is probably something that would have been better as a cutscene. You're getting instant deaths, obviously, so they're not cutting you any slack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is it all one cycle or is it 2 cycles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gotta wait a little bit longer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Go. I don't think I jumped high enough in that case. So I want to run as fast as possible here. 8, 9. So as soon as we load in and we see it flame, we want to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Go. And I'm hoping that there's enough slack there, but kind of doesn't feel like there is. Plus there's just not a lot of options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is incredibly tight. Incredibly tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's no jump or swing from the looks of it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So am I supposed to jump somewhere else? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I do see that rope. Like, we don't have a double jump. We don't have a dash forward jump. We just don't have any abilities, I wasn't counting there, to jump that far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe I'm going too far to the left and I need to stay more in the middle. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll stay more in the middle and see if maybe that's the move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's too fast. So let's just assume you got through this last section. You're not getting through this next section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm not gonna make it on this one. It does kind of seem like maybe I'm supposed to jump to the rope on the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this probably is what you're supposed to do. Yeah. So that was just a dead end, you are going to die section to screw over the player and frustrate them, after that last section being fairly difficult and obtuse. Yes, I will fully admit these DLC quests are bigger and more dynamic and cinematic, but they kind of lack a polish, which is not super surprising, because I would assume the DLC content was rushed as much as the main game was. This will give us just another outfit, I'm sure.
Now what? Through the door, I guess.
Craft incendiary shotgun shells that wreak havoc, igniting targets on impact. And we've got another skill point. So if we've got that, so what this leaves you to potentially believe is that you're going to either have only one special bullet, in this case for the handguns, or there are two special bullets for the handgun, which I'd assume it's just one special bullet. Now we have all the special bullets, and so now they're going to want us to go use this in a fight sequence, which I saw in the walkthrough. I don't hate the idea of climbing, then fight sequences, and then fight sequences before climbs, and just breaking everything up that way. I assume I'm jumping across here. Am I supposed to be jumping up? Or am I supposed to be climbing down? It's nothing but lava downward, so we may have yet another frustrating section here. Enter the secret room, it says. What Lara Croft really needs in every game, I would think. Let's just crawl down here and see if there's something to this idea. You think we could possibly swing all the way there and jump? I'd say no. In every Tomb Raider games, it feels like Lara Croft would do very well to have a competitor of some sort. Somebody who would beat her 2 points and collect collectibles for Trinity. It'd make a lot of sense for Trinity to have just like a whole Tomb Raider team of people who would often, every now and then, show up in one of these tombs, and then you would have a potential chase sequence chasing after that competition, showing her that she needs to hone her skills and get better throughout the course of the story. You'd think that these hanging rocks might be an indicator of not being able to swing, but it does just kind of come off like you can gain a lot of momentum here. I wish I could move the camera around. Let's jump and... yeah. If I was supposed to do it that way, almost certainly I would have gotten an awkward jump. And almost certainly the game would have told me to grapple. Now notice we didn't actually feed the item to the robotic character, so either we're going to do that later, or that was more figurative than anything. Alright, well, let me just look at the walkthrough again, because I'm really confused. Grapple on the craggy walls, then jump to grapple to the far wall. You can now rappel and swing the solid ground, then continue forward to trigger a scene. So that would be a wall, and this would be a wall. So that would be 2 walls with an S. And then it's saying jump and grapple. Is there any way that jumping up and grappling would make sense there? Am I supposed to be pointing in like the top left direction? I guess. So this is like twice now that the game has really not worked at full 90-degree angles. Please catch the edge there and give me a checkpoint. We should probably get an achievement for using one of these special bullets, since we haven't used. That would be the point where we would have used it. Used every bullet that I think is in the game. There's not a lot to look at, and being particularly frustrated by this tomb, I really don't care to look at any more of this. But yeah, this little
This
walkway
must be where the crab belongs.
feels like it should have been more of a cutscene.
Get her!
Oh shit.
There she is, boys! Just like the plan.
So it's a trap. This is definitely one of those sequences where there's no way you're going to take these guys out quietly. There's just no stealth sequence at all. So the game is being ridiculous by giving you bows and arrows. I don't think you can really shoot these guys off the ledges either. Like, if they were going to slide on this and you were going to try and shotgun them while they were sliding, I guess end of wave 1 or end of everything. Like, you can blow these guys back, certainly, but instant death. Whoops. So the real way to take this on certainly would be... Alright, there's one guy that I was able to actually shoot down, but only with the fairly fast gun. Try and grab as much bullets as we can until they start showing up again. If anything, this is really just highlighting how bad your guns are. And that is way too easy. Alright, so that's the end of that fight. I would say it doesn't feel like I got an achievement for using any of these weapons, or really even benefited by using any of the other weapons. This section fell down, this section's fallen down, so the only way you can go is here. That can then put you to a point where you'll, I guess, just look for corpses. Several explosive barrels, yes, but not strategically placed in such a way that you could really have used them to kill everybody involved. They just weren't programmed to walk near the barrels or hide near the barrels enough, if that was the plan. Interesting. I guess this is just a spawn closet. I doubt there's supposed to be some secret find this, and I guess this is also just a spawn closet. I'm trying to get as much resources and bullets off of these guys. Yet another spawn closet. Which, yeah, the rest of the game does not have spawn closets. I suppose maybe if you had run over here, you could have run around and tried to kill people one by one. I don't think that would have been a faster experience, and I think you'd really just be opening yourself up for a lot of failure. There's clearly a lot of bodies that despawned also. So I guess this is the point now where we put the statue of the crab into a different depiction of this god. And I guess we'll see what happens there.
Abby, I'm at Zapakna's temple. Trinity was waiting for me. They stole the crab to lead me into an ambush.
My God, are you okay?
I'm fine, and the crab is back where it belongs.
You pretty much know that there
such a
won't be an ambush
Thank you.
in
Let's hope you
the
returned
rest
it
of the
in time.
game, because
Tell
this
Jonah
is
I'm on my way
DLC.
back.
Maybe there'll be an ambush at the very end of the last act, but probably not. There was definitely a noticeable ambush that happened in the second game that just really led to a long shooting sequence. Okay. Don't know if I really needed to do that. And now the experience of just walking back is basically an experience of collecting a few resources if you happen to walk past it, or
Can't carry anymore.
or potentially, well, finding something you missed. I wouldn't be surprised if this maybe pushes the story forward a little bit more, but that was a really long experience. That took almost the entirety of this 2-hour episode.
So Abby tells me the whole thing was a setup?
Yes, when I returned the crab, Trinity had a trap waiting for me.
I guess that's some kind of compliment. They trusted you to bring it back.
Thank you so much, Lara. Now that the crab is back in its rightful place,
And I
the
guess we're
ash
just
is gone
getting
and
more
the tremors have stopped.
romance.
I'm not sure I can take credit for all of that.
Either
The
way,
whole hopscotching
never hurts to
girl
keep
in the
gods
background
happy.
there is distracting visually.
When good things come into
Feels
your life,
like they should have
you've got to
done
celebrate
something
them.
more with that. So I guess that officially puts Abby and Jonah together. We got a new gun. I wasn't really expecting that. And a new outfit and an achievement and a skill point. Just a lot of everything. Far too many pop-ups happening at once. And getting an extra skill doesn't really need to be depicted if you're always getting a skill when you finish a mission.
Thanks, Lara. It means a lot to her.
And I guess that's the entirety of it. Yeah, I don't know what you really would have done with girls playing hopscotch, but you animated it, so you could have potentially had Lara Croft have to play hopscotch with them, and then you could do the exact same animations, just scaled up to an adult form of body. Like, you can't interact with this at all. You could have used parts of these animations as far as doing the hopping and the balancing towards jumping over traps and things like that. Okay. So let's, before we wrap up for today, we have 4 skills, and we are just pushing through all of the blue. And that gave me a specialized achievement that 13% of players have gotten, earning all of the skills in one category. Leaping Lizards was the achievement before that for doing that DLC challenge. Now noticeably, we still have a challenge tomb here and a challenge tomb here that are non-DLC challenge tombs that I've somehow missed. As far as weapons go, what was the new weapon we got? We got Whispering Scourge Pandemic. So Whispering Scourge right now is equipped. Pandemic makes it green. Exact same stats. And it is already fully upgraded. So we still are very much set up where there is no real gun. I think, even though I haven't seen a visual glitch on it, I would like to go back to the standard climbing axe, because I do feel like maybe some of my frustration was by using the DLC climbing axe instead. And then it will just be a matter of how many skins I have as far as what else I can upgrade. It all seems fairly dependent on just having whatever that is. What is that depicting? Jaguar hides? Yeah. And you just aren't going to fight that many jaguars in this game. It's deceptively ridiculous how many jaguar hides you would need to craft everything. And we haven't gotten any upgrade as far as this kind of equipment in a very long time. Alright. So. Mercenary's blinking, so we'll go check that, but otherwise we'll just have this mission giver, and see, this may be Empress Jaguar hide when we just need regular Jaguar hide. You just don't fight jaguars that often. Do this mission giver next episode, and then we've just got to get back to the Hidden City section. But weirdly, I also feel like I'm missing a challenge tomb somewhere. Yeah. There's maybe one in this section. And then there's one in the C note day that I've missed. I think that's a challenge tomb. X Legend. Challenge tombs look like what? Tomb Steel. Tomb. Yeah. So if we see a tomb, I guess I probably just missed a tomb here. And I should probably do that. And then I think I missed one in the Hidden City. Then there's just no more goofing around. We've got to move the main story forward and just end it.
How are things?
And there's just not that much XP, really.
Good deal.
Yeah. So Nothing really special here. We could try to buy bullets and things like that. We can buy salvage, but we don't really need it. We don't need black powder.
Come back soon.
So she's got nothing. There's just really no reason to talk to most of these characters. Right. So here's our challenge giver, which is Abby. Which I guess I could have guessed that was it. Yeah. No real progress has been made because of the DLC sections that we did today, as far as the percentage complete. And we still really are in the same boat where there are some areas that it just looks like there are collectibles I missed and I can't find them. So I don't think I'm going to get to 100%. As far as achievements go, we're at 54 now of 99, which means I am dangerously getting close to potentially being able to get all the achievements. But I still suspect some of them either have to do with doing challenge tombs from the main menu and getting a score attack, or multiplayer, which has been shut down. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to support me further, there's some links down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.